I've got a couple of things written down, but with these glasses I can see them, with the others I can't, you know.
Kevin, do you want me to play that music?
Yeah, yeah, it's good. I don't know if you can. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's a great film.
Just waiting for the guys to come on, Kev. We're on live. Yeah. We're just waiting. Come on, get joined on here.
We're all eating the Easter eggs, I think, Bri.
Yeah, that's what it'll probably be.
Yeah.
Who's the first one on? Come on, let's see. 2-1. Can you hear me, guys? Let us know.
Do you still go to KFC, Bri?
Oh, Max was earlier. Hello, White David, one of the brilliant lads. Can't wait to come and see you, mate. I was in jail with a lot of lads from up there. The joke, I didn't, mate. Yeah, no problem, Maximus. Dalton Betts, yeah. All right, mate.
You can see all
I hope you're not eating too many eggs, Maximus. Wayne Press, is that Preston? Andrew Williams, evening, gents. He's saying, oh, evening, mate. Boom. Yeah, brilliant, mate. Leo Lucius, I think Licursi. I'm good, mate. Very good. No tax me. No eggs.
How are you doing?
Just a few. It took 19.
Yeah, get a few on there.
Get a few on first. Yeah. Yeah, we're fine, Mally. Thank you, mate. Is that Ian Mullet Miller? Yeah, okay, Ian. Paul Bree. Brilliant, mate. Bit of background music.
Yeah. Once one time anyway.
Yeah, my sister Maureen wants us to play it at a funeral. Yeah. You know when it goes into the jolly part.
Oh, that's not for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just say hello to Monkey and Maureen while we're on. And the dog. Got the same dog as us, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Keita.
Another man I was talking to today, I just on Messenger a little bit in depth. We'll go and see him.
Tell me, I was asking about it.
Told him how much you appreciate what he's done. And
brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. 6 times well, Mr. Universe. Absolutely fantastic. How you ready, mate? We love you a bit and can't wait to come and see you.
Yeah, I told him how much you
changed.
Praise him.
Oh, it's lovely, lads. Yeah. All them old days are gone now, and we were just kids then and stupid and grown up now, and it's just what helped people now. We've got some brilliant.
Can you all please share onto Facebook or any other platform?
That's the boss talking, by the way.
Yeah. I'd mentioned to him as well on the messenger that Brian and I agreed that he'd have played a better part than Arnold, you know.
Oh, the bunny, sorry. Room the bunny's going to tax me. Oh, Lass's only taxed me. Thomas Harkins. Thank you very much, mate. Still some, how you still, mate? You alright, son?
I think there might be a
Thomas Harkins, you a good lad.
My friends watching Trish James and Anne.
Come on, get down there, come on.
Maureen might
I think we're on a little bit early, that's all. We'll just wait a little bit, guys.
And Nick Brannigan, if you're watching, I've got a good story about him
33.
tonight.
Come on, keep getting on. Right. You ready to go?
Yep.
Right. Welcome to Brian Cockerill Taxman Show. We've got the amazing Kev Kilty back by popular demand. I think he's just took over my show. I think more people are asking questions about Kevin as me. Someone said he's encyclopedia knowledge of Teesside, but he's here. Kevin, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back, Brian. Thanks.
We might get a call by the police again. I don't know, but
we might get a visit.
Yeah, I hope so, because we've been that good. So, yeah, guys, Easter to everyone.
Yeah, happy Easter.
Yeah. What we're going to talk about?
Well,
sure.
What I was going to talk about, I know I've mentioned all lads, but I was going to talk a story through door stories.
Yeah.
Not necessarily about any fighting and things like that. There's not much of that in it.
Yeah.
But some really good stories about when I started working at Macmillan's and some of the people who I got to know there and worked for, some of the door lads who worked for us. And there's a couple of good, really funny stories, but you've got to listen to the end of them for them. But I said to Terry Dicko last night, I was going to mention a little bit about a story which he won't remember, Terry, but anyway, going back a lot of years ago when we were at Winniebank, where the church is at the moment, Sainsbury's. And years ago, then I was like a clean-cut skinhead, not a thug, clean-cut skinhead.
But yeah, I know.
Like, yeah. Smart as I could afford to be. But then is you couldn't, I was that little, you couldn't get the proper check shirts or the Levi's stay press, or certainly the airwear boots.
What were they called, shirts? I can't remember what they're called. You know the shirts.
Well, the Ben Sherman.
Ben Sherman, that's the one,
And the check shirts, and jackets. But when the stay press came out, and there
were two-tone ones, is that the one you're on about?
Two-tone, and the airwear boots, and the Wranglers and Levi's.
Yeah.
Anyone in senior school, unless you're a big lad, you couldn't get them to fit you.
Yeah.
Anyway, one day I'm going over the fairground on my own. Didn't have money for the rides like no one did.
No.
Loved the smell of the hot dogs and the onions and the chips and burgers. Westler's burgers, you can still get them in the
they're the best burgers. They were we were just talking about that, me and my wife. They were Wimpy's, like a rubber type fairground. They're the best burgers in history. Yeah. And
the smell of the fairground, and something else I remember about the fairground, I'm sure everyone does, was the great music that used to be on.
And the waltzes and that.
Waltzes, Crow's Fair. Anyway, I was over there this one day. I think it might have been 1970, 69. And in and out. And there's this lad going on what they call the Noah's Ark, which goes round mega
sick,
dangerously fast. Anyway, there's this lad, small lad, my size, probably jumping on and off, and looks at me going 90 miles an hour, on, off, on, off. And I looked and I thought, he's got airwear on him, this lad. Proper airwear boots. And I thought, he must only be a size 3 or 4 like me. You can't get him unless it's size 6. Then I looked and Wranglers on. They must have 24, 26 waist. You can't get them to the 30 waist. Looking the lad dead cocky and what have you. And anyway, Flash Alley, looked at he'd have a go and what have you. And I was quite impressed by his activities on there. I only told him last week in the text that lad was Terry Dicko.
Right. That sounds like he's all hopping on and off everything.
The lad there was Terry.
So my God today, bless him. And
just to mention him,
just been with Matty Turner and that was a good day today. And that got Redcliffe and that, and Big John Pickard on me, and great lads. So like to say, thank all the support we've had in that last week from everybody. Big Joe Egan, just speaking to him today, absolutely marvellous man. Come to see us soon when the lockdowns are over. Rob Holloway has been there.
Yeah.
David Ashton, my brother, Joey. There's loads and loads of guys out there, but I'd just like to thank everyone here, and my wife would as well. Go back on the
back onto it. So I'll go straight on to the door stories. I've got a bit of a sore throat, so you'll have to bear with me. I finished work at Bentley's in, I think, 1988. I stayed for work for a while. I went through a little bit of depression, to be honest with you, down and out. I'll tell you the story about that later on, because it's quite a story in it. I was involved with a girl who I was supposed to get married to, and I didn't get married, and it done me head in. I should have done, and she was a really good girl, Not that looks at everything, but she was stunning looking. And then after that, I'd got on with Melanie, And Melanie was really smart at the time as well, Anyway, I was just doing normal things, nothing in particular. Back down money banks. I wasn't doing anything. It was nothing crime-wise. I think maybe the odd time there was aluminium baseball.
Because the wooden ones break on after so long. Not that I know about it.
and the petrol bombing of the lad on the motorbike, a few other things. But these were bad people, and to be honest with you, we all feel the fear, but you feel the fear and run and hide, or you feel the fear, and I fear to protect the elderly people the elderly people. So anyway, I was in my house down Winnie Banks one day. The lads down there loved little Richard when Richie was a little kid,
Richard Rose was always out there.
He's out and
hammering about.
And he didn't know he was going to grow up to be world champion. But he used to say, "Do you want to slide a bump over you, Rich?" And I remember one afternoon, I was just sat in the house, and Kev Scott pulls up.
Good lad, Kev.
I think it'll have been about 1992. Pulls up, Kev. He never comes round, Kev. I want to see you. There's something I want you to do. What? Do you fancy your job back on the door? I said, I don't know how old I was at the time. I might have been 35, something like that.
Quite kids as well, didn't you?
Yeah. And I said, not particularly, really. I said, where's it at? He said, Tall Trees, Macmillan's, which was, along with the Mall, the best nightclubs in the UK at the time. you know, and
owned by the same people.
Javed, yeah,
nice man.
And Javed, I'd worked for Javed many years before.
Jimmy D, you know, the good kid who worked on there.
Yeah, and Javed learned me a lot, actually, quite a lot, you know. Some of his crap was really good. I'll go into it in a minute.
Yeah. And I can tell you a story about that, but I'll let you.
So anyway, he goes on, you know, I said, well, I thought Gina and Marty working there. He said, no, I don't know what they'd packed in or whatever the reason was. And I thought, well,
you made contact the other day to say hello back, mate. We'll hope to see you soon, mate. And yeah, keep up the training.
Yeah, he's a great bloke. He's another one who could have been in the film, couldn't he? As Van Damme and that Marty.
Brilliant physique. Chart Bram really loves him. He looks up to him.
Yeah, he looks up to
really good
Marty a lot.
Man,
yeah, he's a good man. Yeah, I like Marty a lot. And the thing is, when you've got these people who are, you know, people who are tough lads, being very tough lads in the time, I've never ever liked them through them being tough.
No, just
you would be my friend if you were the softest person in the world, same as other people would be. So it's not about that.
Yeah.
And anyway, I said, what's happened with the lads up there? Because I don't really want to get a bad name and step on the toes. She said, no, it's all right.
Yeah.
So I went up and seen him. I was talking to Alan Kenny Gregory. Decided I'd work there. And I knew Javed will let you wear what you want as long as you're smart. You know, not jeans that, but smart, especially the head doorman, you know. So I looked around a few lads to get on the door, and I thought, and employ a few. I employed one young lad at the time who wasn't even worked on the door, John, met little John. Mick Brannigan, do you know Mick Brannigan? Ginger Mick from
really good nice lad, funny lad. Good lad, yeah. It's about Mark Johnson, Ellie, didn't he? Yeah, good lad. And Mark the bailiff, I've met Mark, he worked with him as well.
Did he?
Yeah, with him as well,
Yeah, Mick's a great lad, very good lad. Steve Galloway, another good lad, came on the door.
Ali Johnson.
Ali was at the Mall at the time.
Yeah, he was
Peter McGee come work with us, very good door lad. Probably I think Peter was the youngest lad to ever work at the Bongo.
He used to say, how does Brian get that big? He used to try to pinch for a seat. You tell you, Peter, mate. What's he taking? What's he do?
He was 18-year-old when he worked on the door, you know, but
nice kid,
at the Bongo, and he was a professional footballer as well. Played against Roy Keane and stuff like that. So anyway, I got a couple of good lads on the door there, and I got a big lad called Jeff Hurst, who was probably a tough lad, but more of a greeter. Steve Ord, Mick Thompson, so some really good lads on the door there. Started working off there. A little bit of GFSU nights, top class people coming in and that, you know. And anyway, I remember as we were getting into it, I really enjoyed it. And Javed took us down his Rolls Royce to Birmingham NEC Centre.
Yeah, the little club there, didn't he?
Yeah, and we had the nightclub of the year as well, the Maestro.
Bradford, that's Bradford. I used to work there.
Yeah, I used to work there, yeah. And anyway, from there, started to really enjoy working on the door. It was like a night out, even though I didn't drink.
Yeah, you're right.
It was a class place. You had like girls bar where I would be, and the lads would be on the other door. But I'd float about, and I was in charge of them.
You had a good fun on there, didn't you? Everyone was training.
Yeah.
Everyone had the same type of goals. It was good fun, wasn't it?
And I remember, obviously, the people who used to go in there as regulars, they'd probably not take to new door lads if they were well in with the door lads.
Yeah, you're right.
I remember one lad coming up to me at the time, really nice lad. He knew me from a long time ago, but I'd changed and he didn't know me. But I knew his face. He was a lad called Darren Hall from Yarms, you know him.
I know Darren, big Darren from Park End, and he know him very well.
And Darren, at the end of the night, it was people ready to go, and we were just politely saying, "Are you ready to go elsewhere?" Sometimes I'd stop back and have a drink. It was a class bar. And he said, "No, I'm being invited here, you know." And I weren't being funny, we were polite, we were meant to be polite, you know. I said, sorry, I said, it's guests only, mate. He said, I'm guests, I've been invited as a guest. I said, who by? He said, oh, Kevin Kilty. I said, oh, okay then. I said, I'll buy you a drink then. He said, oh, cheers, what's your name? I said, Kevin Kilty.
I went there with little Terry Dickle once, quick story, and we goes to Gwyn, there was a big doorman and he's passed away now, big, about 20 stone, you remember him? He's
was that the one who was on the Jimmy Catlow?
Yeah, Jimmy Catlow.
That's the one who was trying to name last week.
Yes, he was on anyway.
Jimmy, dark hair lad,
big lad,
nice lad, wasn't he?
Jimmy Rob Tarifi, yeah. So he came on, he was trying to stop Terry going in, because Terry down in the pub, and the barmaid was on, she said, oh, he threatened me the other week or something, but it's absolute rubbish. Some laddie was with Terry threatened her, and Terry went, well, now don't me. He said, I was just with a lad. So they said, oh, you can't come in. So I said to Javelin and Mia, I said, are we all right to get in? I think Mickey Fanny done this. So we went to get in. He went, oh, you can't come in. I said, I'm the boss. Started all the shouts. I said, listen, you're doing a lot of shouting. Let's go in on the back and see if you can walk the walks. You don't talk the talk, walk the walk. Oh, you bully me now. I went, well, wait a minute. You're trying to bully, you're 17, 18 stone, 6'2".
Yeah.
You're bullying Terry. So I'm going to bully you then. And and 2 days later, they're not attacking Dad.
I remember.
Unbelievable,
yeah.
So if I'd admit that, hit him that night, so what happened, Dad had probably got to jail. It just shows you, innit? So I asked the owners, I said, they're the owners that said I could come in, anytime I want. Because I'd helped them in the bar when I used to work at Kenny Gregory's, I'll tell you that. And he was just being horrible, full of steroids and horrible. But we passed away now. We didn't call the man, we just said incidents. Yeah,
I knew him a little bit, Jimmy. Yeah, I think prior to that he had some stomach problems, cancer, and that, you know, and that obviously brought it on.
Yeah.
But anyway, I started working there, met some really good people, learned to see who the VIPs were, who was allowed in for nothing, and who wasn't, you know. The drugs were probably big at the time then, but to be honest with you, I can say with my hand on heart, and Javid knew this, not once was I ever involved in selling any drugs on that door. There was probably
alleged I wasn't. It's probably all that stuff. I'm not being horrible, but the truth is the truth. I did the whole.
Well, actually,
everywhere was boxed off.
There's a little story about that. Actually, I caught one lad in there selling drugs. It was very low profile in a way. It was the best club around. Everyone wanted to be there. Taxis from everywhere.
Everyone was on gear though. All the young people were all
probably were, but I think them days it was probably ecstasy.
Just ecstasy, you know. But that's what it was. It was a rave club.
And
mad music.
But later on, when it would become Club M, that's when it got. But these days, obviously, people are coming in that might be people taking the coke, whatever.
Yeah, mainly 90% of people were just taking ecstasy, and they were just. I mean, we had as a club.
But it was a lot of people.
We went to the first club to me, and was the filmers.
Yeah.
In the North East, I used to work at the door there with what do you call him, Norman Rushby, and Steve Brad, lovely lad, NBA champion boxer. And I was a young kid, 21, 22 at the door. And then we got the eclipse with little Don LaRoche. We just talked about seeing him in there. All these away after to see him, he's a lovely lad. We used to go in there when the fest opened, they had 30 people. So I got everyone from everywhere. 3,000 people used to come to see us and pop in. Everyone come. There was hardly any trouble whatsoever now. I couldn't even mention 5 fights. There was 2,000-3,000 people in there, 500 in the queue. Not a fight next door. They were 2 of them arguing over a game of dominoes and stabbed each other. It just shows, doesn't it? So then people were all taking the evil. Like, not saying it's a good thing, but that was just what happened, didn't it? In them days, but
what a class location overlooking the sea, in it, you know, and
marvellous.
And good to get that many people in a small town like that. Whereas Macmillan's was in big land, and prior to Javid owning it, Kevin Amer, the Amers, Charlie Amer owned it. Prior to Charlie Amer owning it, one of my very best old friends, he's 90 now, great man, Kenny Shannon, he owned it. He actually built it from when it was a colonel's house and extended it.
Right.
So anyway, we got to know all the VIPs and, you know, people coming in. There wasn't great lots of trouble. For the ones we sorted out diplomatically. You know, we had a big area from the door to the end of the car park. So we had some great nights there, and the people who worked with us at the time, as well as the door staff, was Lal Cowendale. He's on Facebook now, Premier Lal, little Indian bloke. He was that good, Lal. He always used to say to me, and he's very pleasant. He said, Kevin, you're the best door lad I've had. And I said, what you're after, Lal? He said, just seriously, and he was immaculate, only a little bloke. He said he used to say this about himself, Lal, if you look, and you will watch it later. He said, you think I'm quite a good-looking chap, aren't I, Kevin? Do you think so? I said, of course you are, Lal, you're great. He could have worked at the Savoy, he was that good.
The gift of the gab.
He was just great organisation. Kenny Gregory, great bloke.
I went downtown with Kenny. Was remember City used to wear the door.
You went downtown, didn't you?
A good man there.
And obviously another bloke who was on the door with us, but I always classed him as my boss. because he was part of Jared's family.
Yeah.
And it was Dennis who was married to Betty Bury, if she's watching now. And she was a very great lady. All the door lads respected her. Right. She took the money in the nightclub side. Yeah. Proper lady. She could have been in Dallas or anywhere. Yeah. And the daughter Donna. In fact, most of the staff there. But her husband Dennis, God bless him, who's not with us now. He passed away. Right. He learned me a lot. He was a really good bloke, good company, and his son used to be a bodyguard for Gary Newman, you know, cars.
Yeah. With two coloured eyes, like, yeah.
And at the end of every night, as I say, we'd on a Saturday especially, we'd have a drink. One little tale I'm going to tell you, and I couldn't at the time because it had dropped. The lads in it. They used to do a great Sunday dinner at the time, well known in the restaurant, top class, and they'd done them to order. And anyway, on the night we would be able to go and get our meal and give you some beef and rice and what have you. And John met and Dave McGill one night after the end of the night. We'd had a little bit of a drink. It was a summer's morning. It was daylight coming. Yeah. John Met said, "Kev, can Dave go and get a beef out of the kitchen?" I said, "No, not really, no." He said, "We just a bit." I said, "I'll get in the bother." No, I would never take anything, never steal off Jabba, nothing. But I said, "If there is a little bit of beef, go and get it." Anyway, all of a sudden, Dave, and he used to hide inside and drink Newcastle Brown Ale without its number. I clicked on, and Dave's walking out, and he's a good lad as well. And all of a sudden, he said, "Do you want to get in the car first, Kevin?" He's holding his arm like that. And I thought, what the fuck's up with him? I said, "John, what's up with him?" He said, "Oh, I think he got a punch early on his side." I said, gets in the car and a full whack of beef drops out on the floor.
You've been feeding.
And you know, that was one of the other little stories. And going back to it as well, there's another story of it. I hope he doesn't mind me telling this story, because the lad who is on Facebook now, and he's a good lad. And at the time, he was coming in, and he was from the outer parts of Winniebanks, and there was a lad called Kappa. Do you know him?
Kappa. Yeah.
Kappa. Yeah. Well, Kappa, I won't mind me mentioning. If you do, I'm sorry. I don't think he was one of them who got sent away for the murder of Speedy.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't the one who pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
And one week he was in there, and Kenny Gregory come in and said, "Kappa's dealing drugs on the stage there." And I used to let him in. I said, "Yes, you joking?" No, I said, "Come in." And they said to him, "Have you got any drugs on you?" "No, none at all, Kev." "Any drugs on you at all?" He wasn't a bad lad. He was a good lad, actually. Yeah. "No, none at all." And anyway, Kenny went out. I said, "Kenny, go and get Steve Galloway to get the other lad off the stage." He went out the office. I said, "If you've got any drugs on you now, tell me, because the coppers are going to come and you're going to get arrested." You know, I said, "I don't know you want you arrested, but if you're selling the gear." Anyway, he said, "No, I haven't." I went to check in his pocket, and he had God knows how many there. You know, so we barred him out of the place. A lot of people had taxed him, as you know, when who was running, you would have,
I used to send a certain person in, a girl,
because George,
not far from me, and I'd say, "Go in there and see what's about." So you could tell they were dogs and all these things. If they come back different colours, I think some bastards in it. And I'd have them hunted out.
You would have had them away, but we were nice guys, so
I was a nice guy. I was just keep the drugs off the street.
Let them on the way.
I said, "Have you got any drugs?" He said, "No." I said, "You want some?"
Anyway, he was barred out, and we didn't want him back in. We couldn't, you know what I mean? He'd abused it. He was on the stage selling the drugs. Yeah. And as you know, at the back of it, you used to have a barbecue area where, if you wanted to, you could probably sneak around the back. And sometimes there was 2,000 people in there on the night. Yeah. And anyway, Kenny come to me again, Kenny Gregory. "Kevin," "What, Ken?" "You won't believe it." He said, "There's someone sat on the stage selling ecstasy as if the fucking sweets." I said, "Who is it?" He said, "Have a guess." I said, "It's not Kappa, is it?" He said, "It is." So anyway, I'd lost my temper, and I'd still apologise to him now, but I couldn't help it. I went in, the door lads had him, and I slapped him and literally knocked him. Right. You had over. So I apologise for that, Kappa. He probably filled me in now because he's training. He's in.
He probably filled me in about you.
He's in good shape. Yeah. But the respect we had off people, it wasn't necessarily because we were tough door lads, because we were pleasant door lads. Yeah. You had police coming in there. You had Bernie Slaven coming there. Gary Pallister coming in there. I remember
Brian
one
Cockerill.
Brian Cockerill, yeah. Well, actually, I'll tell you how Brian came in when I was working there. Even though Brian was a great friend, I spent not minimal time, but only time at the weekends with him. But I knew literally everywhere was wary of him coming in. And his mate Flea come up one night on the Friday. He said, "All right, Kev, how are you doing?" I said, "Are you coming in?" He said, No, I'm not coming in. He said, "Brian wants to know, is he all right to come in tomorrow night?" I thought, won't be any trouble, will there? Won't be any trouble. You might not remember this.
Yeah, I do.
And anyway, Brian come in, you know, guest, and he was dressed in a pair of tailor-made trousers and a white shirt. You know, he looked the part, looked really big and thingy. And anyway, he was in about, I don't know how long, quarter of an hour, and he come out, and I heard this clatter from the other door, and the door nearly come up the hinges, and Bryce says to me, "If he's cheating me again, I'm going to fucking give him it." And it was John Met being given a little bit of a, I don't know what it was over.
Yeah.
But anyway, Brian went, thank God, he didn't have any problems, you know.
Yeah. None of the doors didn't come off.
Well, they actually did.
Yeah, Flea was saying.
They did.
He just took them doors off the hinges.
Well, they did actually. Yeah. But the lad who pinched the beef, Dave,
right,
he was a joiner.
Oh, right.
So
right.
we paid back for the beef.
So
put
there you are, mate. So I want to have that beef now. Yeah.
And anyway, this other night, sorry about my voice, by the way. This other night we were in there, and obviously you had to be dressed smart.
Yeah.
A summer's night, stood on Earl's Bar, 300 metres up the road, minibus pulls in, and these lads get out. I'm not kidding you, some of them your size,
yeah,
which you can't believe. And Mick Thompson says, "We've got trouble here." I thought, but they're counting them going, it's about 12 of them. Jeans on, t-shirts, boots. Fucking hell, I said, "Lal, I'm just going up here." I said, "I don't know what's going to happen, but they can't come in." And I walked up with Mick Brannigan. Mick Brannigan, he said to us, "We outnumbered you, you know, Kev." I said, "I know." We walked up and I says, "Listen, mate, one of them was a foreign bloke trying to talk." I said, "I'm sorry, you cannot come in like that. You can't come in like that, no chance." What? And I thought he was going to have a go. I said, "I'm sorry, you can't come in like that." All of a sudden, this big bloke with a beard came from behind me, shook my hand. He said, "Oh, we've been invited by Javid." It was Jeff Capes.
Right. Was he had a security firm, didn't he?
Yeah, security firm, Jeff. And he was with all the world's strongest men.
Right, that's how there was the big.
They come to visit us, and I was talking to Jeff.
Yeah.
Obviously, he'll know Richard now, and Richard didn't well now. Talking to Jeff a while back. And he was England, he was the world's strongest man.
Yeah, but he was a policeman at first,
policeman, yeah.
And then he apparently he's into budgies now. He looks after the
budgies. Yeah, he's.
But he broke the record for the great. What do you call him? John Paul Sigmason.
Yeah,
he was awesome and all.
Yeah, and he was a great bloke. Jeff talked to him and that. He was suffering from a bit of sweats at the time, overeating and that. And he was on the door talking to me all the time.
Tell me this funny story. You might know this, and Richard will probably know it. There's a thing people used to say, when you lift heavy weights, it slows you down, but it doesn't. What happens when you get older? Well, you start losing the fast twitch fibre muscle. So the only way to keep that is to train really heavy. Now, Jeff Capes trained heavy. He used to say, if you train heavy, you couldn't punch as fast, but it's wrong. He'll tell you yourself, it's the fast twitch fibres you train when you train heavy. All these, his daughter and that was running, and Richard and that all use big heavy weights on the legs, and it makes them faster. The old thing was, even Tyson used to think that years ago. Now he trained the weights in the end.
Yeah.
But Jeff Capes was about 26 stone, 6'6", like that.
Yeah.
Brendan Foster had a race with him.
I was just going to mention that. And over 200 metres.
Yeah, something short sprint, whatever it was. And he said, "I could beat you." He went, "Everyone, no chance." And Jeff Capes beat him, didn't he?
Yeah, with allegedly, Brendan, if you're watching, because Brendan knows me and Richard very well. I've got Brendan. He was just a message to me, Brendan Foster, the other week about how well Richard done on
absolutely brilliant, wasn't he?
Great bloke. What he's done with the Great North Run,
absolutely
marvelous. And the City Games, him and Richard bringing it to stop.
Hands
off to him. But Brendan will tell you if it's true as well.
Yeah. Big Jeff beat him. Yeah.
Big Jeff beat him.
So that story, Peter wouldn't believe, but if you want to check it. It's there. But it does the speed. You get more speed even when you train on heavy weights. You get that past the hands.
Of course it does. Another quick story, going off the door work though, but it's funny. the Diamond League games that were coming to Gateshead last year.
It's mad, the stadium.
Massive. This is one of the world's best races, all the Olympians there. And Gateshead got a contract for it, and Brendan Foster asked Richard to go because he's in charge of the city games. Right. They'll promote. All the television cameras were there. I got my nose in a little bit, you know, not too much, but I got my nose in. And anyway, Richard was star of the show invitation at the promotion, invited by Brendan Foster. Brendan Foster, obviously, well gone and retired now. Yeah. And all these young athletes came up who were from other clubs. I think they were from Blade and other ones, but school kids about 10-year-old, 11. Yeah. And we were in the changing room, and all of a sudden Richard walks in with his Great Britain stuff on. And the coach there says, "Right, children, we have a very special guest here." Richard stood there and he said, "Hands up, people who know who this man is." Yeah. And they put the hands up and they're trying to say, so "I'm not going to ask everyone. I'm going to ask everyone once." Said, "This is a very famous man here." And he said to one lad, "You know who this man is?" "Yeah." He said, "Who is this man?" He said, "I know who he is. It's Brendan Foster."
What did Richard say? That's not me.
Well, I won Brendan later on. I said, "Hey, Brendan," I said, "Richard's just had a bloody great compliment there, you know." He said, "What was that?" I said, "They asked you to know who he was," and I said, "It was you, Brendan Foster." But Brendan was a great.
Because he was known that much for being a runner there. That's what it'll probably be on it. It's like saying, "Who's the best? This fighter is the best fighter." And if it was, probably say it was Mike Tyson, wasn't it? So.
And another time, a story that ended up in a court case, actually nothing to do with Macmillans, but ended up in a court case. Another group of lads came one night, and two of them looked real handfuls. Other ones smart, well-to-do, you know. And one of them was this, we didn't know at the time, really big, 6'7" black lad, probably 27 stone, not in the shape that you were, but he was a very strong, big lad. And it was John Daniel, he was American lad, but London lad, gangster, allegedly. If you have a look at the Creer's funeral, he was the big black lad who was there. And he was a really nice lad. We weren't going to let him in at first.
Didn't he have his own security in that?
He did. Well, he was security for these lads there. Right. And what these lads were doing, they had the Highfield Hotel and a few other top-class places. And for a few weeks, they had this top-class Italian furniture, best you've ever seen in the world, on display, and everyone was going and looking at it, and it was a £200 deposit, and then you bought it, whatever. Cut long story short, they were there a few weeks, made millions on deposits. The furniture never ever came. Ever. And they ended up at court for it later on. They were in with these, I don't know, with the Adamses are, but one of them was in with him, and Big John was there, and anyway, for a laugh, I was sitting at the airport one day because he stayed at the hotel, and he was fucking massive, really big black bloke. And I said, "I'll take you to the airport." I said, "Do you mind, John, if I stop off at my brother's house in Winniebanks?" It was out Raymond. Anyone who knows Ray, he's dead feeble. He's not with us now, but he's very scared of anything, to say the least, my older brother. So I comes to the door. I said, "Can you knock on the door, his door, John, and says, 'Ray Killian, I want to word with you.'" And he knocked on the door. "Ray Killian, I want to word with you." Boom, he hit the deck, Ray.
Exactly. They said, did any of you ever meet Paul Massey? Sort of just saying that your sister, didn't she? Yeah. So Kevin might tell you a little story.
I had met him a long time ago, about 1984 at Manchester. I didn't particularly know him, but Paul Massey was a very, very good friend of my brother-in-law, Paul Lyons, Monkey Lyons. And Paul was in prison with Paul Massey was in prison with Monkey for quite a long time. They became very, very, very good friends. Monkey was telling some stories about how hard Paul used to train, even though he wasn't a big lad, and he used to get all the protein took in, go on the pads and that. But he was very, very well liked in Salford.
Yeah, he was.
Very well liked.
Well, I know lads. I was in jail with his brother Eddie. I was in with him for 95, 96.
Yeah, and he went to I went to Paul's funeral. Maureen's a very good friend of his wife as well. She's been up to visit her a few times.
She was best man for you, Maureen, wasn't he?
Well, my sister was married in prison.
Yeah.
She wasn't in prison at the time, but her boyfriend was. Yeah. And the best man, I've got some photos what you can put on your website about him, was Paul Massey and Monkey. And that's the time when I'd said that when she went in, the prison officer said, "What are you doing back, Maureen? Your husband's dead." Should I've come to get married? Oh, two Monkey Lions. Yeah. Monkey Lions, what you bothered marrying him? Oh, he's daft. Sure, he makes me laugh. Why don't you fucking marry Ken Dodd?
Yeah. I was in jail in Durham. Yeah. And he had the same probation officer, Derek, they called him, as me. And you know, it's mad, isn't he? The probation officer's mad. Anyway, we were locked up, and he said the best time he had in jail was being with me. Yeah. All that jail he did 20 odd years, didn't he? And he said the best jail I ever had was Brian.
20 odd years.
And the other one, the other person.
Just funny at one time.
Oh really, yeah, he was very well respected, made a lot of money, you know.
Lad, yeah,
and very clever.
What did he do 21st off?
Well, he'd been in and out of jail his life, but he ended up getting like 20 records, something, didn't he, in the end?
Yeah. Well, Monkey did, but I think Paul got a few acquittals in that. And, he was a very good friend of Paul Massey.
Monkey, aren't you?
Yeah. Paul Massey was a very good friend of Paul Ferris.
That's right, yeah.
And when I was at the funeral, next session, I'll tell a story about that funeral. I was stood next to Sid out of Coronation Street, you know, the daft one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you all daft in Coronation.
I don't watch it, but
I don't either, but I was stood next to him. And when we went to the church, me, Maureen and Monkey, parked there in Salford, about 10 people outside, waiting. 10 minutes ago, and he said, "I don't know whether we've got the right church." So he went and asked someone, "Is Paul Massey getting married here?" Yeah. From a distance, you thought it was William Wallace cavalry, the noise, the bugles, and about 30 Scotch pipers come round the corner. I wouldn't like to say how many, probably minimum 20 black Mercedes, and maybe 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of them, when he was going in the church, were God worshipping, touching his coffin.
Yeah.
And some of them people, they'll do the same to you. You know, man, they'll do the same, makes you probably carry my coffin. You know.
Yeah. Hope you don't have to carry mine.
Anyway, you're about at the time. So anyway, they were touching his coffin.
Yeah, Big Eddie will do it, won't he?
And most of the people who were touching his coffin and praising him were people, I would say, 70, 80-year-old
normal people
in wheelchairs crying. Yeah. So he did help a lot of people out, you know.
Yeah. So sad, wasn't it?
Like a Robin Hood figure, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Like a lot of people liked him because he was like, I was a year of him because we found out all people were getting robbed or people were getting.
I think he was exactly like that.
Exactly, just help people,
you know, and
give money to people,
try to solve problems. It was quite sad, actually.
Because it's no disrespect to anybody, but the old school values. If anybody was messing about with old people's windows, we'd go around sorting out, wouldn't we? We would. And the police would just drive off, wouldn't they? They'd know that's what they need, a good slap. It's not saying this to violence is great, but sometimes that's the only thing these people knew, isn't it?
And not about that, going off the story, Monkey, Paul Lyons, my sister's husband, he told us a story, because he's not very well now at the moment, Paul, but he's very funny at the time. Yeah. He tells us about when him and Charles Bronson, the prisoner.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, but I've had a few postcards off him. Yeah. But I don't know him. I've never met him or whatever.
I did a book with him called.
You did a book with him?
Right? I'll just show you. I did a book with him called Salty Fitness quite a while ago.
I haven't read
that. I hope he gets out. I think I'll get you one. I hope he gets out on his parole. We love you, Charlie, and we're all here for you, all the guys, you know. So yeah, if he's been in long enough. Yeah. Paedophiles and rapists did less than him. He's out. So Charlie, we hope he gets out.
And I reckon he trains really hard and that, you know. And as I said, I don't know him. I'd like to get him a couple of Gillette 3 razors to get that beard off. He'd look a lot better.
Probably look 20 years younger, Charlie boy.
But yeah, Monkey.
He's another nice. He's all liked by everyone. Charlie. He's done so much for charities, but people don't know. Yeah. He's given it all to charity. He's money in that, and he's done so many books and that over the years, but it's all gone to charity.
Yeah, and the Monkey was saying about that he was in segregation, which is a cell within a cell, which you can't get out.
No.
And Charlie was above him. They knew each other very well. Monkey's in solitary, and he's gets brought round Sunday afternoon. Apple pie and custard. Monkey comes through the door, eating the cell, you know, 24-hour lockup.
Yeah.
Charlie Bronson knocking on the ceiling. Monkey, Monkey, what's that I can smell? What's that I can smell? Monkey, Charlie, it's the apple pie, custard. What's it like? What's it like? Fucking mint. You should see the chunks of the apple in it. They're bringing you some round, Charlie. It's only be 5 minutes, Charlie. Okay. Half an hour later. Monkey, Monkey, I haven't had the apple pie and custard yet. Where is it? They said they were bringing it. Anyway, half an hour later, the doors are going, the landings, the alarms off, everything. Where's my fucking apple pie? Where's the apple pie? Bolting the doors in. So yeah, if he ever comes to see you, make sure you have some fucking apple pie.
We will, and custard. He sent us a few drawings over the years, and I've written a few books for us. Signed a few books over the years. So he's nice man.
The drawings are excellent, aren't they?
First class.
He always uses a very thin pen.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, another thing going on.
Any questions, anyone?
The door lads, some good stories coming up here. And one of them was when Tall Trees was getting built into what the Club M was, the Great Club M. You've seen it like a Roman front on it, a swimming pool into it, Alexandra Suite, a brilliant thing done by Javed and his team. And Javed once thanked me and says, you know, you've been very honest on the door, Kevin. We've had a lot of funds, you know, and blah, blah, blah. So I was at Dawn at the time that still opened, Alexander Suite. And it was meant for big entertainment, top stars and that. And the first star that was ever on there, who I particularly didn't like, was Max Bygraves.
Right.
Do you remember Max Bygraves?
Yeah, he was a singer, wasn't he, and comedian.
Entertainer.
Yeah, film star.
And I knew there'd be old people there, pensioners.
It wasn't my cup of tea, like.
Yeah, it wasn't mine. I didn't particularly like him.
No.
So the upwards 1,000, and as you go and you've been having it goes sunken down, seats 1,000, the kitchen equipment Javed bought was out of this world. And there must have been about 100 staff on this day. Day before, says to Kenny, I always remember it was on a Friday, coming up towards Christmas. Kenny, what time do you want me in the door, lads, here tomorrow? 12:30. I said, Max Bygraves on it at 1 o'clock, Kenny. 12:30 will do. I said, I don't think so, Ken. I said, there's going to be loads of old age pensioners here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and stuff,
So anyway, we decided to go at 12:30. Me, Mick Brannigan and the rest of the lads, I think Peter McGee was there, John met a few others, pulls up in the car park, 12:30 on the afternoon. It was afternoon show, mainly pensioners. 30 quid a ticket, meal included. Even, I think the dessert was apple pie custard. Well, it was actually, because I'll tell you the story.
I'll take it there, Charlie, but it's gone now.
Pulled up, and John, the security lad, said, fucking hell, Kevin, there's fucking hell on. He said, whatever trouble you had on these doors, you're not going to have the trouble you've got with these pensioners. Walked in, Kenny Gregory's fighting through the crowd. Kevin, come over here now. Kenny, I told you we should have been here at 11 o'clock. I didn't know anyone had come and see the staff bugger, Max Bygraves.
Right.
So we must have plenty of tickets.
Yeah.
I went in and tried to calm him down. And there's this old woman in the wheelchair. I hope you don't mind me saying, Kenny, like, but you laugh. Old woman in the wheelchair, about 80. Yo, Kenny, you the manager. Why can't I sit down there? Get me down there now. 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 Smacking Kenny in the mouth.
Yeah.
The woman's friend was on a Zimmer frame and trying to attack Kenny with a Zimmer frame. It was chaos, a disaster. Eventually, we got them all sorted out.
We had the same thing. We finished that, so we worked on the door at Black Cat, but it used to be called Henry Africa's. And what you used to do, you used to have a night on, every night you'd have somebody on it, and he came Bernard Manning, lovely bloke, and I was massive on
I love him, you know.
I had a white shirt and I was stood there, and he went, see that big bastard, I want him on stage with me. And Bernie McDevitt, Bernie, my mates from Redcar, Tony Stubbs was there, Tony John Black, Cookie, all the lads. John from Winky, John, not that one, the other John, our friend, Grangestown. Anyway, so on that, he said, if he says it's Wednesday, it's Wednesday, and says, couldn't think of it. If he said it's fucking Christmas, good, King Wenceslas, that's and when I went on the stage with him, he said, make sure I don't get attacked on you, you know. Anyway, I looked after him there, and he shook my hand and everything. Lovely man. And we had loads of guests on there. And it was fun. We had like the basic rollers, all that type of people.
Big turns, weren't they?
The Four Tops, hot chocolate, all them type of people.
Four Tops and that, and, you know.
We looked after loads of people. This is a funny night. There are all these young girls all queued outside, packed. Some lads in that have packed, and John Black's on the door and that, and I stood there. And this lad popped his head in and he said, can I get in there, mate? He said, no, we're just waiting for this. We're just waiting for someone. He said, we're just waiting for this fucking dickhead called Eddie Kidd. He went, I'm Eddie Kidd. John underlined it.
I remember John telling us the story.
Yeah, do you remember?
Yeah,
it was funny.
Yeah, and anyway, Max Bygrave's on. So anyway, they get the show going. And it's the best do they've ever had there, 1,000 meals. And they're bringing them out all individually. We just like mellowed down, chilled out, you know. Creators not dormant, and then we were just looking after them.
Yeah.
Max Bygrave's on with all these, this, that, and the other, hands, this, hands, that. I didn't like him, you know, he wasn't my cup of tea. But he was sat there anyway, and the main course came out. People were eating it. Then all of a sudden the sweet came out. Sorry, the starter of the main course. By the time the sweet come out, some people were just getting the starter.
Right.
And it was a total cock-up.
Disaster, yeah.
Afterwards it was great, but a total cock-up. And the same woman at the front with the Zimmer frame and the slab at the cranny. Max Bygrave's in the middle of he's singing and it's going down really well, the old thingy. And this woman stands up and says, Max! Where's my fucking apple crumble? Where's my apple crumble? Please, Max! And he had to stop the show. You know, start again.
Yeah.
She must have been, I think his mum. Charlie Bronson's mum. His stories are all funny, aren't they, you know? And so it's not all just about fighting on them, though. No. Good laughs, don't you? We had Blood on, remember them tank of feet they were on?
Oh, they were great, them.
Swaddy Waddy on. We had all them type of people on. We had all these, absolutely brilliant to meet all these people. All these
I worked a little bit with Mud just one night. That's great. They were very good.
He was only tiny, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was,
We did him, Leo Sayre, looked after him. Bob Geldof looked after him. I looked after him a few times. Every year, me and Sean did. Are you right out there, Sean? Good mouth. Good to meet Sean. We went to the Stockton Festival, and the Bobbies were there, and we got the job. John Field was there. We were stood there. And
I remember that.
All wrecking crew coming, everything. Since the first year, we've had no trouble on again. Other festivals, 50,000 people turned up, don't they?
It was about 1993, something like that. Yeah, I remember
about 94, 95, 6, something like that.
Yeah, John Field, Sean, and you.
And all of a sudden, there was no trouble. A couple of good ways made his presence coming here, Cockerill.
It was a good catch.
There was only a few bobbies. There's usually loads. Nobody's going to cause trouble with me.
That was really good touch, that one.
It was good. You spent one for 3 days. But we met Leo Sayre. He was really tiny.
Yeah, I liked him, you know.
Good singer. There was loads of people we met over the years. And Gina G, with my other friend from Sunderland, looked after her. They were only on a bit. QFX, we did in the.
They were good, weren't they?
Had to pay them £2,000. We used to have seen people them days used to do entertainment.
Yeah.
Especially at Henry Africa, Stockton, all the people know who lived there. People couldn't entertain you, but it's ruined it now because they don't have comedians, dancers coming on, singers. It was all every night you got something on, so it was good instead of just music. You know, it was just it was good. We'd have them on for an hour or so, and then they'd change it to the disco.
Yeah, they were really good times. You know, the turns that were on.
Yeah, they were.
You see, after Max Bygraves, he came off, and it was a winter's afternoon.
Yeah,
it was tea time dark by then.
Yeah,
and he knew me name. He shouted over. He said, "Kevin," he said, "on the way down, we got picked up at Darlington Station." First class travel. I said, yes, Max. He said, there was a very weird looking odd fella brought us down in Javits Rolls Royce. But pretty fair, you know, he was very, very odd. I said, you know who he is? He said, no, but I know he was the bloke who the women were in with a Zimmer frame. Kenny Gregory. So he said, would you, he said, I don't mind him, but would you mind driving me there? He said, because he's never had a bloody shave for a week, this fella.
Yeah, Kenny goes,
sorry, Ken. But...
He had a look up at the Bee Gees, didn't he, Kenny?
Yeah.
Nice man though, and his wife was nice woman.
Oh,
she
really
away,
good.
Didn't she?
Yeah, Angela, yeah. He's got a really good family.
So I was asking how many Sierra Codsworths did you have?
I had 6, I think it was. I taxed 2 and I bought, no, I taxed 3. We were talking to Thingy Pierce, Terry Pierce, car dealer. He went, oh, you come to mine. I thought you were going to tax 3, but I was always all right with a decent one. There was this gobshite and he won't come to my garage and tax it. And I took it off him at Codsworth, the graphite grey one. It was up to 15 grand at the time.
They
were fast cars. Yeah, well, you know that.
You had one of them
Porsche 911, didn't I?
Porsche 911.
And he went to me, what have you been doing, robbing banks? Every day you come to different cars.
And you had one of the Escort Cosworths, didn't you?
The Escort Cosworths. And all sorts of just everything you think of. I had
Jeep, Shoguns.
Scrappy's around there with my wife, couldn't
everything. And another good story about tall trees. It involves Mick Brannigan. Well, I ended up working with Bob Monkhouse, and Bob Monkhouse came there, and
he was funny, wasn't he?
You're very good. I was literally the one who was right with Bob all the time.
Probably one of the best
overnight
all-round entertainers. Him and Bruce Forsyth, probably the best 2 ever entertainers on television programs.
I was with him. I'll tell you a story about him in a minute. But I was with him for 4 days. Went to Craythorne Hall with him. If anyone ever goes to Craythorne Hall, if they're lucky enough to go there, great place. Bob Monkhouse then stayed in what they call the Leaving Suite.
Right.
So if you ever go and you book in the Leaving Suite, the great Bob Monkhouse stayed there.
It's only year 19, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very good, I was. I'm not sure where it is now. And anyway, Mick Brannigan was there, and I'd looked after Bob Monkhouse a couple of weeks before. Mick said, Tom O'Connor's here. Tom O'Connor.
I moved from Liverpool.
Yeah.
I didn't mind him. He was quite funny.
I didn't mind him, but
there's
something about his haircut that seemed a bit odd. And I said to Mick, I'll do you a favour. You'll get a reference off him. You look after Tom O'Connor. He said, honestly, I said, you be with him, Mick. Wherever he goes, you go. I said, but don't lose sight of the dressing room and him. So he goes down, Tom O'Connor, and about 10 minutes later, I get a call on the walkie-talkie of Mick Brannigan. Is Kev there? Yes, Mick, where are you? I just need a stage, Mick. Can you come and see me? No, I can't. Can I come and see you? You can, Mick, but don't lose sight of the doorway. Nothing will happen, but you need to keep your eye on the doorway where Tom is. Nothing will happen, but come and see me. So he comes up the side of the stage. He says, I just knocked on the doorway to Tom O'Connor. I said, it'd be 10 minutes, Tom. And he said, come in. I said, I opened the door. He said, and he's invited me in for a drink. I said, what do you mean a drink? He said, like a rum and coke. I said, oh, that's okay. Bob Monkhouse did to me. Go in. He said, but he's got no fucking clothes on. He's got no clothes on. That's oh my God.
Yeah.
Manu, you went in, Mick, I think, didn't you?
But it was just for the drink, though.
Yeah. And another time, Mick did a bit of a trick to me. I think it was Mick. And Stu with me at the time, we were on the old tall trees. And he said, I've got this spray here, Kev. He said, I said, don't be bringing it. What is it? He said, it's pepper spray. Yeah. I said, Mick, get rid of it. Don't have it on here. He said, I said, it's a load of shit anyway. I said, it's not. I said, it's as good as. I said, it's as good as fucking the mouth spray, peppermint spray. Yeah. He said, it isn't. I said, here you go. And I thought he was carrying on. I didn't realise it was pepper spray. Yeah. I said, here, I'll show you how good that is. And I squared it in my mouth.
Fucking horrible. Purple.
Yeah.
There was a thing going around. Army lads used to come out then, and they used to come out with that siesta you can't see. Once the Leos one night, I think hit the deck, couldn't breathe.
It's legal stuff.
It's horrible. And you can't just put it in army lads for joke. Army lads, studs and then they dropped it and pelleted. I couldn't. I was crying in the face.
It was a proper pure stuff. So it used to make me hold it in my bag stores. And they'd give you the matches that you got to go with them, and they'd have like a the matches would have a big bulbous end, not to like them, and they were like little tablets. And I tell you who, God rest him, Mally.
Yeah.
Mally made a joint with one of them for somebody, and it was terrible. And the lad collapsed, but they were 100% pellets, and weren't they?
Yeah, they're horrible. Going back to CS spray, outdoors sometimes it's not effective even with army and military and police and that. Because it can blow back into you, but indoors it's lethal. But they do have a spray gel, you know, the SAS and that. And the SAS have one, which actually knocks it out completely. I've seen it in action actually with my brother.
Probably to kidnap people. So like you'll get them away, not
things onto the face.
Get rid of them straight away.
Going back to Tall Trees stories again. I had the pleasure one time of working with Peter Stringfellow.
Oh yeah, Peter Stringfellow.
King of clubs.
Well, he wanted me to go down to the club. The Lennox Lewis was going. There was loads of people. There was like a night where it was all people dressed up as different
people. That could have been the time I was thinking.
He asked me to go down there just wear the door with him.
He had the, what did they call the club again? Was it Your Eyes Only and Angels?
I'm not sure what the club of Peter Stringfellow, but it was down there one at London. It was McIntyre that was telling me to go with Dave Courtney, all that let us go down and everything, but obviously I never went. But
he was up, and anyway, it was my job to be with him at the time, and that he was very fanboy, and he was camera great on him. Someone had taken a photograph there and he put over, and even though he was king of clubs, in another way, Javad in his own right was, because he was nightclub of the year.
Yeah, he won.
And he came up to see Javad.
He had weird haircut, hair, didn't he?
Yeah,
weird hairstyle.
Very strange. Yeah. He was known for wearing dodgy looking G-strings and stuff like that. Wasn't he?
He was a bit odd, wasn't he? That's why I never went down there. On the door, to tell you the truth.
So let's just ask what's happened to Javad.
Well,
he's just retired now, isn't he?
He's retired, but I think he's got his hands in a few things. He's got a lot of property yet to buy. I seen him in the casino a while ago with these.
I seen Jimmy D around.
He looked well, Javad.
We seen Jimmy D around Tesco's. You remember me, Jimmy? Of course, give me a cuddle and everything. So I said, "Bugging go over the thing."
He looked well, actually. I couldn't get a drink from my throat.
You can't
get a drink in this house. I tell you, I'll have a Coke, please.
But going back to Javad and Pete.
I was respectable, Javad, and me.
He's very, very good.
Yeah, I remember one night I phoned up the mall and I went, "I need some mechanic Coke," and I was like, them did. And he went, "What do you mean?" So I phoned up and Javad said, "Just send it in the taxi." He went, "What are you on with this big massive bottle?" He said to me, "Nothing." Because I went in one night with a shorts on, and the old man went, "You can't go in like that." And people kept scolding. He went, "Finally, I said, I'm not coming in." So Javad come up and he went, "Do you want a meal?" He took me down for a meal. You remember that? You'll remember.
Kevin was a great tall lad, you know.
He was lucky because he was really good at talking to people. He could have a fight and everything, but
he could have a fight. He was one of the class tall lads, you know.
Blessed with the gift of
and he was
talking people out and knocking them out. He was really good.
He was at Dorman at the Kirk when the Kirk got in its prime in 1978, 77, 1980, and that, you know. But Javad himself, going back when we were at Bentley's, he was really good and funny, and he'd have, even though it was only Bentley's, he'd have two outfits, the outfits in the office, little office, come down and have his white suit jacket on, red.
Oh, it was immaculate.
Middle of the night, he'd change again, you know. And I remember a couple of times there was trouble at the door, and he'd have a little bit of a fight, you know.
He used to get stuck in, didn't he?
Get stuck in, yeah.
Wasn't scared.
I remember him once of the pound coins. I'm not sure what year it was that came out, but the pound coins was in operation, and Javad, something happened. This dickhead was at the door, and we went to give him a bat. Jav said, "Leave him." Jav said, "I'll deal with this. I've got something for you. Wait a minute." Went in, got the bag, the sack what they're in. Pound coins, about 50 of them, and went out.
The edge. Yeah, we didn't know. There was a big, massive brawl down there. All the wrecking crew coming up, so there was about 50 of them. And we used to back the Maldorman up. Me, Cookie, and Tony.
They're all mates now. The wrecking crew.
Yeah.
Some good lads.
But at the time, we were at one club. We went for John Black with Kenny Gregory, and we'd run down. We were 20 odd years old at the time, and there'd be massive brawls in the street. I mean, the police went that bothers really. And so somebody had to press charges. You just had the fight, and it was over, and then everything was back to normal the next day.
Yeah, some good lads there, Sinker and them, and all the lads. Kev Walker, I don't know whether Kev's part of the wrecking crew.
Yeah.
The man, there's some very good lads there, you know.
Marty Man was a good lad, but he wasn't in that stuff.
He was
he was an athlete when he was in all the training. One of the best, probably if not the best in this area, what he did in that kickboxing.
What he did
really skillful.
I think he influenced.
And he got him a shot. He rubbed underneath. He shot him. He was the doorman that actually tried to stop me coming in. Him rubbed underneath. Marty probably be glad about this.
Still training, Robbie.
I said I'm coming in here, and he went and just let me in. Yeah, I had a drink of that Stella. I walked in that night, but there was a bit of pitch all in the past now, isn't it? But
there's been some sad things that happened, and I'd say going back to this Peter Stringfellow thing, Jab got us all in the restaurant room, and he invited us in to see Peter Stringfellow, and he said, this is Peter Stringfellow, and Peter was talking to us, and one of the other managers was talking to Peter, and he said, this is it wrong. You all right, Terry?
I tell you, mate, all right, mate.
He said, this other manager said to Peter Stringfellow, this is how I think your doorman should be on about us. And he said, they're very good doorman. And he said, but I think, he was with Peter Stringfellow, he said, when you've got the door lined up here for VIP guests, paying guests, he said, and in that lineup, and we're all listening, you see some, not Peter Stringfellow, his friend, said, you see some stunning women, big, tall women, slim figures, lovely. He said, your job should be to go out and have a look at them and say to these nice women, would you like to come in as our guest? Would you like to come in as our guest? He said, and that'll flatter them and people will follow them in. I said, I know what you're saying. I said, but to be honest with you, I said, I do that to overweight women that don't look very good at all. You know, I'm a normal person, because they're as good as them. But Peter Stringfellow went like that to me. What class. What class. Why favour the beautiful women? You know? And it's right. Why favour anyone, you know?
We're all the same. We all bleed. We all cry. We all think, oh, this is the worst day I've ever had. And everyone should love each other as well. And there should be more people love each other. I just did that little bit of generosity to say hello. But thank you very much, and polite manners and stuff. I was brought up with manners, made respect. And you give respect, you get respect. If you like a fool, you end up you get called names, bullies, and things like that. So
another, which I thought was a really good story, this, and it involved myself actually. I just took over the Rosebery pub, managing it with Stamp, you know, Stewie Stamp.
Stewie Stamp.
Great lad. He was funnier than Chubby Brown.
He was. He used to tell you. He had me. I went in. He had trouble at the Newmarket, wasn't he? And there was a lad there.
Market
Tavern. I was saying the Market Tavern. I mixed up the Market Tavern. And there was a lad there. He got out of jail, did about 4 years. He was horrible, knocking old men out in his 70s and that. And he got chased out the town. I went looking for him. He never come back. He went, he's gone. He's just left his house and everything. The cars are driving. He just jumped in the taxi and went and come back. Yeah, it's in the book.
Is it? Yeah.
Which is that's the old book we've got. If anybody wants to buy it, the Taxman, the original 2005, and that's the new one we've got, which is Brian Cockerill, Lee Duffy, Taxman and Kevin
Kevin Kilty's in it.
Kevin Kilty's in it. But my best friend Kevin Kilty, little Teddy before. We had some great times. Teddy, we used to talk with Teddy all the time, and Teddy was always a joker, always messing about, always having a laugh. Always liked by all the people.
Didn't have a care for.
Didn't care.
Not a care. He didn't. He was. He cared for everyone.
He cared for everybody. Was fearless.
But he didn't have a care about problems, did he?
No, he didn't. He just hit you in the head and that.
I never actually went to the steam packet. You know, not through any reason.
I'm not being disrespectful.
Not many people could have pulled that off.
I'm not being disrespectful to Teddy, but probably the roughest place in Britain. I'm kidding you not. It was absolutely people getting stabbed every other week. I used to go in.
Like
he used to say to me, "Oh, you've done it again." I went, "What? They've all left because you've come." It was all the slinks. I said, "Well," he said, "Come in a bit later, about 4 or 5." But the ones who were all over couples about it, but never no trouble when I was
mega popular,
never, ever.
And probably unique in the country. That
of course, it's no one else. Not in the country, it's
territory,
Yeah, and we used to go in. I always used to pay for drinks. He said, "Oh," but I always still has to pay the man for something. Yeah. And I used to make him take the money. He go, "No, you're the only one who does this," and he go mad with me. I thought, yeah, but he had that for years, so 6 years.
Done well with that. It had a big name, didn't it? You know what I mean? The people from everywhere went there. I never went myself.
A lot of travellers used to go. And I tell you, do you know who we met there? You'll never believe. Was the snooker player. What do you call him? Alex Higgins.
Really?
Yeah, he was in there. Teddy will tell you. He was in there and he was doing a book. His life story. He was really painfully thin. The cancer had got him, and he was in there. And Dave Woody introduced. He said, "This is Brian Cockerill. He's the main lad round here." And this is, I said, "Oh, Alex Higgins." He was tiny. You know, when you see him on the telly, he looked a lot bigger. And he's jumping on my back, and somebody stole his coat.
Really?
And somebody pinched his coat out in there that night. Terry tried to get him. Oh, brilliant! But he was there. He was
Hurricane Higgins.
Hurricane Higgins. Hurricane Higgins. Yeah, he was there. Yeah, he was right. He was always there. Referees. Because Irish, funny. It's the same as us. Irish he was, so
proper wild man.
Yeah, he was good. He was good though, player.
Yeah, he was.
He was a people's choice, a people's champion.
Yeah, he was great, wasn't he? Yeah, going back to Macmillan's the story, which it probably sickened the police in one way. This, and I'd got picked up from a taxi 9 o'clock, well, 8:30 Friday, Saturday night when the big night was there.
Yeah.
And obviously, there probably was drugs in Macmillan's end, but I honestly got I went involved in it.
I know that.
Got the taxi up, and anyway, as I'm getting there, the security lad runs about 50 metres away from the main door. No customers in yet.
Yeah.
Kevin, the coppers are here. How many of them? Easy 12 or 14, Kevin, CID. He said, "They're waiting for you. I know they're waiting for you." And I paused the taxi driver. Luckily, I knew the taxi driver. And I paused a minute and I thought, and I had a bag with me in Old Hall, and I said to the taxi driver, "Take that Old Hall back to the pub." I said, "There's nothing dodgy in it, but there was something in it what I could have used to defend myself."
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It got really bad, you know.
Yeah.
But it wasn't nothing really bad, but there was no drugs or nothing like that in it.
It was just a Kalashnikov.
It was at mp4. So anyway, goes in, it surrounds me. "Can you take your Crombie off, please?" Start taking off. Said, "Listen, we've had off good information, Kevin, and been operation. We're going to probably arrest you at night." I had my other Old Hall with us.
Yeah.
A little one. "We believe that you're supplying drugs to Macmillan's. Believe you were the main person and you blah, blah, blah. Have you any drugs on you?" And I said, "I actually have, but the only drugs I have on is some lansoprazole and some beta blockers."
Yeah.
I said, and I was probably a little bit cheeky. I said, "So if you want to fucking search me, no problem." I wait there smiling. They searched, and one of them says, "You're wasting your time. He's not got anything on him. Oh, he's too clever for it," which he wasn't. I was too clever. I didn't do it.
Didn't you? Didn't do it, no.
I didn't do it. Anyway, when they went, my adrenaline was going a bit, not through fear, and I thought, why didn't Lal and Kenny Gregory, what Kenny didn't know, tell me? And I pulled Kenny. Kenny said, "Kevin, I knew that about it." I said, "Someone must have done."
Yeah, because they've got to give the word, haven't you? Yeah.
Go and get see Lal.
Yeah.
I went into the office and Lal was sat there doing his paperwork. Great bloke. "Hello, Kevin, how are you doing?" "All right." "See, the police have just been here." Says, "Lal, do you not think it was bad that you couldn't have phoned me up, told me that the police were waiting here for me?"
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. Then casually put his pen down. He says, "Kevin, you were the best doorman I've ever worked with." He said, "I didn't have to. I knew." He didn't have a swear. He said, "I knew you'd have fuck all on me. I know you weren't dealing with that."
Yeah.
And he said, when the police came back in, I said, "Bye. Have you checked him out now?" So give Lal his due, and you all wasn't up to it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the story.
It's amazing. Everyone said they loves the stories.
Yeah, that was all true, weren't they?
There's lots more. And next week I'm gonna. There's another story I want to tell about Macmillan's.
Yeah.
But honestly, maybe it's a good idea if I can just do the questions with you.
Yeah, that's all right. Just say, I'll be sure. Let's call you Kevin's the taxman.